Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are actually going to be talking about probably my favorite creator on social media, who is Emma Chamberlain. So I'm going to do my best to kind of stay as impartial as possible, even though this is my channel, so this is going to be my opinions, and I just want you to know that Emma Chamberlain is actually one of the only YouTubers I actually would consider myself a fan of, if you will. Even though I don't really like to class myself as a fan of any YouTubers, learned my lesson the hard way. But yeah, I really do like Emma Chamberlain. I really loved whenever she was uploading on YouTube, and she was really one of the main YouTubers to kind of hit it in the mainstream, and she's been getting a lot of backlash and a lot of heat over the last couple years for two reasons. Number one, a lot of people think that she's very out of touch, and they just feel that they can't relate to her anymore. A lot of her fans feel that she's kind of left them in the dark because she has stopped uploading on YouTube, and she now just kind of, you know, does more mainstream things, and she has her podcast that she uploads twice a week on Spotify. But other than that, she's really not on YouTube. And a lot of her fans, again, feel that she's kind of left them. You know, she got the success and she kind of left them. And I saw on Reddit, her Reddit, there's a TikTok that's being shared about, and a lot of people are talking about it, and it's stemming from an interview that she just did, which we're going to watch a section of, because she actually talks about the parasocial relationship that her audience have of her and why they expect so much of her and how she's dealing with that. And I think it's a really interesting conversation about creator expectations and fan expectations and parasocial relationships, which we talk about at length on this channel. We're going to jump right into it. First of all, my second channel will be linked down below if you want to go and check it out for funsy videos like this. I'm vlogging every day over there. It'll be linked down below. Go over and say hi. But let's get into this. So this is on the Emma Chamberlain Reddit, which is basically an Emma Chamberlain snark Reddit, even though there is an Emma Chamberlain snark Reddit. I mean, they just talk mad shit about her over here. But anyway, let's hear what this person has to say, and then we're going to get to the section of being the internet's best friend from this podcast. All right, let's get to this first of all.
What's happened with Emma Chamberlain? It makes me so mad to talk about it, so I'm going to rant about it for 1 second. Emma Chamberlain is the perfect example of no one is safe in today's society, because it's like Emma Chamberlain has done nothing seriously wrong. People just woke up one day and decided that they were annoyed by her, and they found other people that were annoyed by her, and now it's like every single video I see of her, the comment section is just like sad. Like, it's just sad. It's mean. It's this group bullying mentality. It's so terrible because it's just, it happens time and time again. And I feel like the pattern that I see is that it's always when women grow the ranks, especially in social media, and find success, then these like snark pages and these people come out with this group bullying mentality, and it's so disturbing to me, because it's just like, you're not safe. Even if you're like a good person, like I feel like she is, even if you've done nothing seriously wrong, people can still turn on you at the drop of a hat. And it's one thing to like change your mind about someone. Okay, you dislike Emma Chamberlain, you don't like vibe with her, you don't like her videos. Don't watch. No one is forcing you to watch, but for you to like go online on Reddit and like talk shit about her on like dedicated pages that talk shit about people, or come in the comments and like say something mean, it's just so mind-blowing to me. I just can't understand it. I feel like as women, we should be protecting these other women that have climbed the ranks and found success, but no, that's not what happens. I'm not saying that like only women are partaking in the snark pages or whatever. I'm not saying that. I don't know. But I have a hunch that that's probably mostly what it is. So disheartening. And it makes me so sad for like the world we live in today, for Emma Chamberlain and anyone that's been a victim of this like society turning on them for no fucking reason. Again, like, you're allowed to change your mind about Emma Chamberlain. You're allowed to think she's changed. You're allowed to think these things, but God, like, just, I hate it. I hate it.
So the video that they're referencing is a part of the podcast where it's not the part we're going to watch, but it's Emma talking about her coffee line, Chamberlain Coffee, which I actually very much so enjoy. I haven't bought it in a while because it's very expensive, but it's fun. It's fun. It's one of the, influencer brands. And she talked about the fact that she's only ever invested in it and she hasn't made any money from it because she wants to actually make the brand great and then eventually do something with it. I assume like sell it or something. But she said she tries her best to just put as much money into it, prioritize actually making good coffee, but that she's experienced a lot of loss in that because, it's very expensive to run a company. And she said it wasn't what she expected it would be and it's very stressful. And she was just answering questions about the reality of being, a business owner. And she also talked about the fact that she's been handed a lot of privilege in the industry when it comes to starting a company because she has a startup audience. A lot of people are going to support her just because of her name. And she says she understands that. However, there are still struggles that people like her face in it. And a lot of people on TikTok and a lot of people on Reddit really, really, really just attacked her for that, saying she was out of touch. Just people constantly saying, here she goes complaining again. Now, the part that I want to watch of the podcast is her talking about the expectation of the audience on her and kind of how the audience turns on her. And again, one of the main reasons that she's getting so much backlash is because she doesn't upload on YouTube anymore. She uploads like once every 6 months to keep that ad, she uploads like once every 6 months. But other than that, she kind of just does her podcast and is kind of silent on social media other than that. And a lot of people, again, feel that she's left them in the dark. So they've kind of turned on her, a big reason for that. I want to see what the comments are like on this first, and then we're going to get to that. I think this is what happens when certain musicians get too popular and too big. They aren't seen as relatable and are perceived as sellouts from their original fandom. All right, so a lot of people on here are agreeing with it. I agree with the video. It seems weird that all of a sudden Emma's being so attacked. At her core, she's the same. Her being out of touch doesn't seem like a logical reason to attack her, nor do I find that to be true. Yes, she has a lot of fame and money, but now what so? I don't feel that that makes her unrelatable as a person, and I believe her podcast further proves that because her topics are pretty relatable. If anything, she's one of the few, if only, YouTubers I've followed that got to such a point and is still relatable because, again, I don't feel that her core ever changed. She still says things that I feel I wouldn't say or couldn't relate to. When it comes to her and YouTube and all that, yes, she stopped doing it. She did explain that, and I don't see it as a big deal. She's not obliged to perform a particular way for us. I never understood that people took the time to be so negative towards someone who is just living their life. They must really not be happy with their own life or something because she's being successful. Now that we know that, wow, the snark is normally a lot more intense on her. I just wasn't expecting that. Again, I cannot stress how many viral hate TikToks are currently online about her right now, and specifically after this podcast. But anyway, we're going to get to this section. This is her addressing why she stopped uploading YouTube videos, the perception of the audience, and why they now don't like her. And what was the last thing? And why she doesn't feel that she wants to partake in the vlogging scene anymore. Let's get to it.
Who am I? You need to look in the mirror. And as a creative, that's putting stuff out.
Yeah.
And as a YouTuber, that's publishing. That's pressing publish.
By the way, this podcast was so fucking good.
I've explored this relationship too because I feel very uncomfortable when we're not.
I'm gonna speed this up a little bit. But yeah, I'll link this podcast down below because it's so fucking good.
Publishing. It's an uncomfortable feeling, right? It's just like in your body. And we've been posting YouTube videos for 12 years together.
Yeah.
And I don't remember a week where I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
And so to turn that off is like, how do you...
I feel like it's like a crutch, and it's comforting to care about something so intensely.
Yes.
Even if it's unhealthy at times.
Yeah.
When it comes to identity, I think to myself, I see myself as someone who cares really intensely about what they do, what they make, and what they're putting out. So even if I'm uncomfortable and I don't like what it started to build, I'm like, oh, I got to keep doing that because that's what I do. It's like a part of who I am.
It is. I mean, even now, I still feel that discomfort inside from not posting. Like every week that goes by, I feel it. But I turned it off and stopped because I had to. I had to. And when I say I had to, I unfortunately have no other explanation other than my intuition. And my entire career thus far, I'm in the driver's seat and my intuition is taking me everywhere. Something in my body, though there's a part of my body that's feeling the discomfort from being out of that hamster wheel, there's a much stronger voice saying, you cannot do this right now. You just can't. You can't. It's not right. It's just not right. And a lot of times my intuition says things that go against what anyone else would tell me to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how I've arrived. I know to trust that instinct. And I know why the instinct is telling me that. Like, I'm not completely aloof. I know why.
I think there's something that I need to add here because I can already hear the comments on this video. I think there is something to note that a very big turnoff for the... Hold on, let me pause this on a better face for her. There you go, girl. I feel that there is very much so a social thing that if you hear a YouTuber or a TikToker or an Instagrammer or an influencer in some capacity, a content creator, it even extends to a creative professional, complain about their job. It's like, oh, but you have it so easy. You know what I mean? And in the grand scheme of things, yeah, doing, what Emma Chamberlain does is so less taxing than, the day-to-day job and stuff. But I think to completely eradicate a person being able to be honest by saying that they're being selfish or they're being out of touch or whatever, kind of puts someone in a box where they can never be honest or can't talk. But then people will complain that someone isn't being honest and not talking. But then if they do, they're out of touch. I understand the conversation about people finding it annoying or frustrating when a content creator in any capacity complains about their job. But then if they're feeling that they can't be honest because they'll get backlash, then it's this wheel of people complaining they're not being honest, but then they're not being honest because they're going to get backlash, but then they're getting backlash because they're not being honest about being on. You know what I mean? It's like this weird... So I get it.
Is done. When you've done everything that can be done, and any more would start to be too much.
Yeah.
Like, I can't,
we don't get seasons.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we aren't on TV shows that have end dates.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. We also run our own network that is just there, sitting there, and we're the programming executive. So, like, we don't have that of like, oh, okay, the Emma Chamberlain vlog season is done now. We don't have that infrastructure to decide.
Or even being like, and YouTube didn't pick it back up.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
what am I going to do?
There's actually something beautiful about that.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, they didn't say yes. Like...
I don't have a choice.
Yeah, I don't have a choice. But when you have a choice, it actually haunts you. That you are actively making a choice to not.
Yeah.
And that is a strange feeling that we deal with as independent creatives.
Yep.
I'm curious about the relationship to your audience. We talked about...
Okay, so here's the part that I find really interesting. Oh, I have this so cut off. My apologies. This is the interesting part. This section is called The Internet's Best Friend. It only lasts a couple minutes, but I think it's very interesting to hear a creator's point of view who is currently being very dogpiled on the internet, their opinion of people's criticism being validated in their eyes because they're talking about their friend, Emma Chamberlain.
About this a bit, but like from the beginning of this, you are very much the best friend, right? The internet's best friend. And as you grow into who you are today, like we spent a little time on your subreddit. We looked at...
That's so fucking scary.
The subreddit's a wild
Scary
place.
yeah.
I mean, the amount of opinions on you as a human being.
I don't even want to know.
Yeah, I mean, you should not.
I will never.
Don't hang out there.
It's not worth it.
I will never go on
Don't
there.
hang out there because it's also like, it is just that concept of like this ever-present human that is just watching you and thinking about you and commenting about you. And it's, in the beginning of your career, I imagine that was like a really exciting thing to develop this relationship with a lot of people who saw you as their best friend. And I'm curious, your emotional journey through that relationship, because you did build something where people just will watch you do whatever because of their relationship to you. There's a video you made that is like one of the most aspirational YouTube titles and thumbnails, which was "You totally caught me making soup."
Which is a great video.
It's a
and even then, it was
video.
stylistically a little different from what you were doing at the time.
Yes.
It was like full voiceover for 12 minutes about you making the soup.
We saw that title and thumbnail.
So crazy.
It opens with a shot of peas.
It was so
like 6
weird.
peas.
I loved it.
That
I
was
loved
like
it.
an experimental film on
Totally.
YouTube, but it has like 6 or 7 million views. And I looked at that, and that is an example I show to people if they don't understand the depth of connection between a YouTube creator and their audience.
Yeah.
Where you can upload something. If you get to actually, again, you might be unparalleled, but you get to a place where you can upload something called "You Totally Caught Me Making Soup," and 6 million people are interested in that.
Well, I can't. For one, I think I can't comprehend it.
Right.
It's very overwhelming. Like it's definitely overwhelming because I feel this immense pressure to provide something to these people who, for whatever reason, I'm getting passionate talking with my hands and bumping everything. I feel a responsibility to be a good friend, you know? And it is weird because they actually do kind of know me. It's not it is not a facade.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really unusual. And I don't feel like, oh, I need to act a certain way now. Like I've been at like a party or at like a bar and somebody's come up to me. And it's like, you already know me. Like you already know me. Yeah, like I'm at a party or I'm at a bar, or like I'm drinking, I'm in like a different setting that you like never see me in.
I think this is really interesting as well because I've met Emma Chamberlain twice, and the first time I met her was in Paris, actually. And whenever I went up to her, and she had asked for my name or something like that, it felt really weird because I hadn't met a YouTuber that I really was a fan of in a long time. But I had watched all of her videos that it almost felt weird going up to this person that you know enough about whatever they put out there about themselves, right? We don't know them, but we know what they put out about themselves. And them, you know, asking for your name, and you're like, oh, well, you know, we watch each other. But then you realize that it's like, it's such an interesting phenomenon. And I think it's so, I just got an alert, the sun rises soon. Oh, that looks so beautiful, actually. Wait, hold on. That looks really beautiful. It's like, not really the sunrise, but it's like, holy shit, that is so beautiful. God, this means I need to go to bed soon. Holy shit, look at that sky. Wow, that is beautiful. This is currently like what the sky looks like. Beautiful. Love it. It's interesting. It's such a new thing as well. And I think it's just I think it's very important to always set up boundaries and be honest with, I think the audience should always be honest, and I think the creator should always be honest.
But it's still...
But the problem with this, by the way, is that if people really, really, really get into the parasocial, then they feel a level of ownership over you, which is why they feel that they can excuse if they want to give you so much criticism that then bleeds over into literally just hate bombing you because, you know, they've developed such a niche connection, you know?
I don't worry about it because I'm like, because you know me. You're not judging me because you know me. I don't know how to explain it, but it is special in that way. But there's definitely, it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Sure, of course.
It definitely, because I think also people feel so connected to me that they expect things from me. They expect me to be a certain type of friend to them, if you will. And
my favorite thing is watching a YouTuber try to explain a parasocial relationship. They always get so uncomfortable. I think the best thing is just to be honest, but they get so uncomfortable.
People get really deeply mad at me. Like, as though I cut them off. Like, it's like cutting off a friend in real life.
Yeah.
People are currently very mad at me. It sucks. I mean, it's not, it sucks, but I do what I have to do. You know what I mean? Like, I can't, and hopefully they'll see that I can be a good friend again, just in a different way. And I am a good friend in a different way now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like on my podcast, it's different.
It's different,
And
yeah.
and some people are like, I don't like that. Totally fine. But then they're like, you're gone because I don't like what you're doing now. And the old thing is gone. So you're gone. I lost you as a friend. Fuck you. And it's like, yeah, but aren't good friends supposed to just, you know,
Unconditionally
love? But no.
Yeah, I think your fan experience is unique, even just because of the time that you became so popular. Like, social media and platforms have changed so much. There are so many people who are available to us that we can consume little parts of on TikTok or Instagram or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, like, there weren't as many of us and there weren't as many platforms. So it was just like, oh yeah, YouTube, Emma, she is like established, she is stamped, and there's not much competition on Netflix. There's not much competition on TikTok.
Yeah.
Of course, there are other creators at the time on YouTube. Like, there's great stuff. But you, at that time, were like the marquee lifestyle creator, and it was like a hit show. So it was more siloed. Now that doesn't happen as much. Like, there aren't as many, or there are
way more.
But there aren't as many people who feel as singular.
I know exactly what you mean. It's very saturated.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll end it there. They go on and they talk, but I did just want to focus on that one section. I think it's a valid thing that she's saying, you know what I mean? People look at her as a best friend, and when she completely stops uploading on YouTube, they feel that their best friend ghosted them, which then in their mind justifies being able to attack her online. And I think that is it completely condensed. I think the more we talk about parasocial relationships and the expectations of creators versus audience and audience versus creators, I think it's important. I don't think it'll ever do anything bad to talk about it. But I do think that most hate, specifically to do with like snark Reddits, stems from this connection and, you know, trying to navigate that. And some people look at the sunrise. Can you see it just like popping? Are you kidding me? That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Are you serious? Look at that. You know, starts from or whatever the fuck I was saying. Basically, it's just how people can navigate that relationship is like how intense they'll get in it. I really did want to talk about this before I go to bed. I'm going to hop off and I'm going to love you and leave you. But yeah, I think it's important to always talk about that. And I really like Emma Chamberlain. This was a topic that I really wanted to bring to the forefront anyway. But I think it's very much so like a damn if you do, damn if you don't. Be honest, then you get backlash. Don't be honest, then you get backlash for not being honest. It's exhausting. But I'm going to love and leave you. I will see you in my next one, and goodbye.